Maglangke Bernardo Bonoan, MBB, Mr. President.
Sabi ng AMLAC, posibleng ginamit ang MBB bilang conduit ng mga pondong natanggap ng Global Crate.
Naniniwala si Tabunda na mahihirapan na siyang maungusan si Duterte.
Madami takot kay VP Sara na maging presidente. Pero we cannot impose our fear.
President Duterte is really admired by the majority of the Filipino people. Problem is not discussed within the Philippines and then directly brought it to the Interpol or ICC. So this is totally injustice, so which I cannot accept. That's the reason why I brought it to the United Nations.
Lahat ng surveys na lumalabas para 2028, even though this early, lumalabas na siya ang frontrunner, siya ang top notcher. Nakikita mo na gusto nila i-disqualify siya para hindi na siya eligible to run for public office. Malakas yung kwento na yung NPC, Nationalist People's Coalition, nag-meeting daw last week, parang Thursday. At napag-usapan nila, majority daw ayaw nang sumuporta doon sa...
Dagdagan Balita News Update.
Posibleng daanan ng bilyong pisong pondong naiuugnay sa flood control projects ang kumpanyang kinabibilangan ng anak ni dating DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Yan ang MBB Global Properties ayon sa Anti-Money Laundering Council. Sa resolution ng Court of Appeals na nag-aproba ng freeze order ng ilang mga kumpanya at individual, lumitaw ang umano'y pattern ng inflows at outflows ng nasabing kumpanya. Tila hindi raw ganap na nag-operate ang MBB Global ayon sa layunin nito. At kung may mga transaction man, halos lahat ay nakaugnay lang sa isa ring kumpanya, ang Global Crate Builders, na iniuugnay din sa MBB. Ang MBB ay dinerive umano sa mga apelidong Maglangke, Bernardo at Bonoan, ayon sa paunang paglalantad na rin ni Senate President Pro Tempore Ping Lacson.
Maglangke Bernardo Bonoan, MBB, Mr. President. Kayo na po mag-connect ng dots.
Treasurer ng kumpanya si Fatima Bonoan de la Cruz, ang anak ni dating DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Pangulo naman nito si Macy Monique Maglangke, anak ni Candaba Mayor Rene Maglangke. Kasama rin sa MBB si Sunshine Bernardo, na anak ni retired Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, ayon kay Lacson. Lumabas sa records ng AMLAC na sa umaabot na 364.7 million na pumasok na pera sa MBB Global, mahigit kalahati nito o 209.3 million ay direktang galing sa Global Crate Builders. Ang Global Crate Builders ay naiuugnay sa mahigit 2 billion pesos na halaga ng flood control projects mula 2023 hanggang 2024. Developer naman ang MBB ng 1 billion peso Wyndham Garden Hotel sa Clark. Sabi ng AMLAC, posibleng ginamit ang MBB bilang conduit ng mga pondong natanggap ng Global Crate pagdating sa flood control projects. Inaprobahan ng CA ang petisyong i-freeze ang assets ng Global Crate Builders at MBB. Nasa 9 bank accounts ng Global Crate Builders, habang isa naman sa MBB. 5 vehicles din ng Global Crate ang frozen, kasama rito ang isang limousine. Una na ring ibinalita ng BNC na frozen na ang ilang assets ng mag-amang Bonoan matapos matuklasan ang paglilipat ng pondo sa kani-kanilang accounts. Isa riyan ay ang naitala ng AMLAC na transfer ni Bonoan sa kanyang anak na si Fatima noong November 11, 2025. Ang parehong araw na lumipad si Bonoan pa US para umano sa medical procedure ng kanyang asawa ayon sa mga report. Bumitiw sa pwesto si Bonoan sa gitna ng flood control scandal, pero nagbalik Pilipinas din nitong Enero at lumitaw sa flood control scandal investigation. Sa ngayon, wala pang reaksyon ang Bonoan camp sa freeze order. Una nang sinabi ng umano'y bata niyang si Bernardo na maski mismo si Bonoan ay may share sa kickback ng mga proyekto.
Magiging malaking hamon para sa administrasyon ang pagpili ng makakatapat ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa 2028 presidential elections. Yan ay dahil malakas ang suporta para sa kanya sa Visayas at Mindanao. Sa pinakabagong survey ng Pulse Asia, pinakamataas ang disapproval rating ni Marcos sa Mindanao. Samantalang doon naman na mayagpag ang approval rating ni Duterte. Para kay Pulse Asia Research Director Ana Tabunda, ipinahihiwatig lamang ng survey ang matatag na suporta para kay Duterte sa labas ng Luzon. Kaya dapat daw manggaling sa Visayas ang manok ng administrasyon.
The effect of the endorsement of President Marcos will be nil. They can't just rely on Balance Luzon. Although Balance Luzon is much larger, Luzon is like Visayas and Mindanao combined. They will have to get support from Visayas and Mindanao. In the case of the presidency in 2028, it's going to be hard to find someone who can draw away support from Sara in Mindanao. So they may have to look at a candidate who can draw support, not necessarily be from Visayas, but can draw support from Visayas.
Bagamat bahagyang tumaas ang trust at approval ratings ni Marcos, naniniwala si Tabunda na mahihirapan na siyang maungusan si Duterte, lalo na sa baluarte nito.
I don't think he can improve his trust and approval ratings in Mindanao, considering that there is this rift between the President and Vice President Sara Duterte. In the case of Visayas, he may have to be seen personally looking after the programs that benefit Visayans.
Kaya habang atat ang mga kaalyado ng Pangulo na ma-impeach si Duterte, naniniwala sina Votas Congressman Toby Tiangco na mas mainam kung hayaan na lang siyang tumakbo sa pagkapangulo sa 2028.
Maging totoo tayo sa lahat ng sinasabi. Alam ko, madami ayaw kay VP Sara. Madami takot kay VP Sara na maging presidente. Pero we cannot impose our fear or our will on her kasi may bumoto sa kanya eh. Di ba hindi natin patakbuhin sa eleksyon? Tapos magdesisyon yung tao, di ba?
Sir, as a Japanese citizen, what motivated you to speak out on the case of former President Rodrigo Duterte? What was the tipping point, or what was the reason behind, sir? What motivated you?
Okay, I've been helping the people, many Filipino in Japan also, and Vietnamese or Sri Lankans, many other people across the world, across the world, and that's one of the reasons. And some women who got married with Japanese man and abused or became the victim of the domestic violence. So the people comes to me to talk and explain and asking to solve the problem. So I've been working for this about more than 10 years to help the foreigners in Japan out. So that's one of the things. And some of the Filipino who used to be the victim of the domestic violence brought my attention, and I start listening to her and their group of people, and then finally I decided to talk, because President Duterte is really admired by the majority of the Filipino people, and this injustice, I cannot take this injustice of the person, and especially over 80 years old. He doesn't have a long time anymore, so we need to do something. That's my motivation that I start doing this.
Thank you, sir. Sir, what specific concerns that led you to raise this issue before the United Nations Human Rights Council? Many people have admired the points that you've raised in your recently concluded speech.
Yeah, because nobody else is defending other than the Filipino people. But this is not a domestic issue. This is a totally international issue, and this is a human rights issue. And as a human rights defender at the United Nations, first of all, if you want to bring some issues to the United Nations, at least you have to try to solve the problem within the country, right? This is the basic rule. And so that means, if you do everything within the country and even cannot solve the problem, then you are allowed to bring the issue to the United Nations. So this is a basic rule of the United Nations. So if you are not doing properly within that Filipino judicial system, then it is violating to use the international body like ICC or Interpol or United Nations. So I found this problem is not discussed within the Philippines and then directly brought it to the Interpol or ICC. So this is totally injustice, so which I cannot accept. That's the reason why I brought it to the United Nations.
Sir, specifically, you've mentioned concerns about Philippine sovereignty in your speech
Yes.
at the UN. How exactly do you believe that the Philippine sovereignty was not upheld or upheld in the case of the former President Duterte?
First of all, here the Filipino domestic court didn't discuss anything, right? Nobody brought it to the court. So, but ICC is talking about Duterte. This is totally nonsense. You have to discuss or you have to, if you want to criminalize him, you have to bring it to the court first for evaluation or, to investigation. However, they didn't do it. And they just surrendered to ICC. So that means ICC is superior than Filipino sovereignty. This is wrong. Okay, so the matter or internal affair of the Philippines have to be decided by Filipino, not the ICC. Okay, so is the ICC is above your Supreme Court in Philippines? No, I don't think so. That's what I'm thinking.
Sir, a lot of people are asking if your speech recently at the United Nations Human Rights Council was an AI-generated video. They don't
Yes, am I AI?
yeah, they don't believe that the speech existed, and they're calling it fake. Now,
Yeah.
what is your response to those allegations?
Well, maybe they think it won't happen, and they don't believe what is going on. But the basic thing is that human rights is not the only regional thing, right? And okay, if they want to believe that the AI, that's going to be okay, because they don't understand what really going on the ground, and the human rights is not a joke. So we are taking it seriously, and if it is serious, we should not use the AI. So I'm just laughing, because there is no other choice for them to say AI, because maybe I'm the big obstacle for them, to the people of the anti-Duterte group.
Kinuwento ni Vice President Sara Duterte yung timeline of events kung paano po nabuo yung impeachment, no? At nasabi niya na ilang beses siyang dumalo sa mga pagdinig sa Kamara, pero pag nandun siya, hindi naman siya tinatanong kaugnay sa issue. Kaya marapat niyang sinagot yung mga issue na yun at naka-timeline pa. Gaano kahalaga kong na may ganyong platform ang Vice President na hindi hostile na ipapaliwanag niya yung kanyang panig on national TV?
Well, if you will notice from the start, since simula ng mga control, it's really designed to demolish the Vice President. Kita mo yung demolition job, grabe. Grabe yung kanilang media campaign sa mainstream media, sa social media. Hindi pa nga lumalabas yung mga responses, hindi pa lumalabas yung formal reply, yung formal investigation, katakot-takot na accusations doon sa iba-ibang hearings sa Committee on Appropriations, pagdating sa Quadcom. Ang dami ng accusations doon, no? So, and these are mere accusations, insinuations, innuendos. Walang proof, walang final judgment, walang concrete evidence of a crime made, for conjectures. So, where does this go? Elimination of a very strong candidate in 2028. We see the Vice President here. She has the highest number of votes in the last 2022 elections, even higher than the votes of the President of the Republic. The President got 31 million votes. The Vice President Sara got 32 million votes. So makita natin yung credibility niya, yung mandate niya sa taong bayan, mas mataas. At saka hindi lang yan, nakikita natin yung kanyang trust and approval ratings na pinakamataas siya, trust and approval ratings sa lahat ng public officials. And you are going to impeach somebody was a very, very high trust and approval rating, even higher than the President, higher than the Senate President, higher than the Speaker of the House or Chief Justice. So pinakamataas talaga si Vice President Sara Duterte in terms of approval at hindi lang yan. Lahat ng surveys na lumalabas para 2028, even though this early, lumalabas na siya ang frontrunner, siya ang top-notcher. Kaya makikita mo talaga na demolition job itong ginagawa. Wala silang pwedeng mailabas na kalaban na malakas for 2028. So, demolish nila. So, they try to remove her by impeachment. Kasi ang plano talaga, nakikita mo na gusto nila i-disqualify siya para hindi na siya eligible to run for public office, particularly in 2028. But sa tingin ko, MJ, kahit saan ka pupunta ngayon, yung taong bayan, very much aware. Thank you very much for SMNI. Maraming salamat sa mga social media activists natin, yung mga vloggers na lumalabas palagi at sinasabi yung totoo, no? Nakikita natin yung taong bayan nagsasalita na talaga ngayon, nakikita nila yung nangyayari, nakikita nila yung ginagawa kahit hindi pinipick up ng bayaran media. Nakikita natin pinapasa-pasa na yung mga pinapasa na yung mga important na mga video, important news items, news articles. So makita natin na aware ang taong bayan sa mga nangyayari. Saka hindi lang yan, makikita natin sa mga news items, news articles sa Facebook, sa YouTube, sa social media, TikTok, yung mga likes. Makita mo yung likes saka yung ano ba yun? Yung laughing, pinagtatawanan yung mga press release, yung press releases. No? Kikita natin kung ano na yung totoong sentimento ng taong bayan.
Opo. Kong, binanggit po ninyo ang katagang totoong sentimiento. Ano ba talaga totoong sentimiento sa House of Representatives? Incumbent member po kayo ng 28th Congress. Ang inyo pong mga assessment ngayon, malamang, ganun din po siguro ang tingin ng mga nasa HREP. Pero ano ba what's the real score, sir, inside?
Ambivalent ang feeling ng karamihan ng mga congressman. Kung ang congressman ay makikinig lang sa taong bayan, ang ibig kong sabihin yung boses ng mga tao na kanilang re-represent. So I urge members of the House, kahit yung mga senador natin, during the break, meron kaming tinatawag na Lenten break, March to May pa ang balik natin. Consult your constituents. Makikita natin na yung mga constituents, ang approval ratings ni Vice President mataas na naman. Hindi sila naniniwala dito sa mga associations. And remember, she has 32 million votes. We or you cannot disenfranchise with 32 million voters. Tatandaan talaga kayo niyan ng mga botante pagdating ng panahon. Whether you like it or not, yung mga botante na bumoto kay Vice President Sara Duterte na gusto nyo impeach, kung ano man ang boto nyo, makikita yan ng taong bayan. At makita natin ang kanyang trust ratings at approval ratings more than 50%, 54%. In other words, more than one half of the population, based on the representative sample, approve of her performance, approve of what she is doing. So ang trust rating niya mataas, as compared to the other officials. So why would you impeach her? Saka again, yung impeachment hindi pa proven criminal cases or I would say serious offenses, serious cases or impeachable offenses. Puro accusation pa na kailangan pang i-prove. Kulang yung mga ebidensya na pinapakita. So I believe yung mga tao is closely watching what's happening. So, darating ang araw, meron pa ring verdict yan pagdating sa botohan ngayon.
Opo, let's make it more personal, Kong, kasi si VP Sara Bisaya. Visayan-speaking people are found in Visayas and Mindanao. Tapos pag may congressman na hindi nakinig sa pulso ng kanyang mga constituents, may it be a party list or a district representative, gaano kalaking setback yon na ang isang usa ka Bisaya ang congressman moboto pabor i-impeach ang usa ka Bisaya? Kung as a Bisaya yourself, anong tingin mo dun, sir?
Actually, marami na akong naririnig, no? Hindi lang 2, 3 or 4. I think more or less malapit na sa plus-minus 10 na nagsasabi na grabe ang sentimento ng kanilang mga constituents sa kanilang mga distrito, all-out support. So, yung iba think twice na kung itutuloy ba nila yung pagsuporta o hindi sila susuporta sa impeachment. But I heard this kasi nasa session hall ako at saka nung Lunes pumunta ako sa Dodge. Pagkwentuhan ako sa mga congressman. Malakas yung kwento na yung NPC, Nationalist People's Coalition, nag-meeting daw last week, parang Thursday. At napag-usapan nila, majority daw ayaw na suporta doon sa impeachment. Ganon din narinig natin nung presko nung NUP, no? And I hear there's another party na gusto na rin umatras. So, it could be possible na pagbalik namin.
You would stop this?
Even had a few screws left over.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. That's why with Farmer,
mahihirapan silang kunin yung 106 votes. Let us say, kung i-pressure talaga ng admin, maglabas na naman sila ng incentives, maglabas sila ng benefits, kukumbinsin nila yung mga congressman na bumoto, lalo na yung may mga kaso. So I think baka makakuha pa sila, but they will not get the same votes as last year na umabot sila ng 200 votes. Ay marami na ngayon ang nagigising. So I believe the voice of the people will be heard, especially during these times. This is a very, very important crucial moments in the history of the Philippines. Ngayon pa na mayroong crisis sa Middle East. Ngayon pa na mas kailangan natin yung unity ng ating bayan to face the problems, to solve the problems. Hindi pwede magwatak-watak. At saka yung pinakamataas pa ng approval ratings, yun pa ang i-impeach. That's not good for our democracy. So, para sa akin, very unproductive itong ginagawa ngayon na impeachment para kay Vice President Sara Duterte.